You know, it's one of those facts that really jumps off the page when you read it. American student loan debt, it's now topped the $1 trillion mark. It's more than Americans owe when it comes to credit cards or car loans. And Andrew, the fear now is that the impact of this debt, and I know our guests are going to agree with this one, could have a major effect on whatever tenuous recovery the economy is going through.
Well, it's what one expert called a slow-burning issue, unlike the housing crisis where everything went bad all at once. Among the problems here, you have graduates delaying things like having kids and buying homes because they're too busy paying off their student debt. Many college graduates are also having a hard time finding jobs out of school. 25% of them can't find work. Put all that together, you put a drag on the economy. The average student loan when people finish college nowadays, 25 grand. Here's another sobering stat. 30% of all student loans are past due. That means students who went to school hoping for a brighter future are having a hard time just paying off their loans month to month. And that doesn't even include the fact that the cost of a college education has been rising faster than inflation. And with states across the country trying to work out their own financial problems, the cost of what used to be an affordable education at a state school, even community school, not so affordable anymore, Rich.
All right, let's bring in our guest here who can shed some light on this. Tom Bloom, he's the VP of Administration at Sarah Lawrence College, an outstanding higher learning location here, but certainly you must hear the cries of escalating tuition rates. Sarah Lawrence, certainly not the cheapest tuition around here. But talk about how you view this, because we're hearing from economists who say, as he said, slow burn, but there's a lot of consequences, both short and long term, as these debts are getting defaulted on.
Mm-hmm. Now, we hear this issue and deal with this issue all the time with our students, with our applicants, and we look at the national landscape. When at Sarah Lawrence, we think about how we explain the value that comes through the sort of education that we provide.
Well, do the math with us, if you could,
sure.
Tom. The average annual tuition at Sarah Lawrence, and when people say, all right, if I'm going to plunk down X over 4 years, when am I going to get a return on investment?
Sure. The stated tuition, tuition fee, room and board, sticker price, is $59,000 right now. We are #1 in the nation. That's not exactly
Lucky
a designation
you.
that we hold on to, but you have to consider this.
By the way, I'm having a mini seizure with 3 kids hearing this, but go ahead, yes.
I'm with you on that. You have to consider this. There is a philosophical focus, at least in our sector of higher ed, on accessibility. Absolutely, we help our students, we certify our students for loans as a means of gaining access to the kind of education and value we provide. We also provide significant financial aid, grant aid. 60% of our students are on grant aid, Sarah Lawrence aid, averaging $31,000. We supplement that with loans when it's necessary to help families close the gap. When we speak to the value equation, there are a couple of ways we can do it. We can take sort of the global approach, which is to point to the wide range of studies, whether you're talking about the American Enterprise Institute or you're talking about the United States government, the Department of Education, its own studies, speaking to the average lifetime earnings benefit of having a bachelor's degree. And there is an undeniable benefit there. The American Enterprise Institute will tell you it's $500,000. Department of Education will tell you it's $1 million, whatever the case may be. We really tell the story about our alums and where they are headed.
To this point, though, Tom, what we're hearing is, and you don't agree that it's this financial ticking time bomb. That that when they make the comparisons, whether it be to basically loans, whether it be credit card or car loans, you think it's apples and oranges.
I do. The comparison to credit card debt defies logic, I think. We're talking about 2 very different things. We're talking about a form of capital that allows students to gain access to education, self-improvement, greater lifetime earnings. Credit card debt is very much about consumer expenditure around goods.
Let me say I grant you that, but here's where they say there is a commonality. The first-time home buyers in this country tend to be younger, college graduates here, starter home, they're trying to do a family. A lot of these people are living at home right now because they can't afford it. They're still trying to pay off the college loans. They're barely making it. You miss one college loan payment all of a sudden, and you get banged for it in a big way. So is the net consequence that, I agree with you, you don't have a degree today. I can't even say on TV what you are, but you're not in a good place. That said, by being forced to pay off this level of debt and this ever escalating cost of tuition that doesn't keep pace with inflation, it outpaces it. How do these kids have a fighting chance before they're 35 years old?
I mean, look,
Is
you're right.
it fair?
I mean, it is absolutely fair. You're right. Nationally, from a policy perspective, we have to be worried about this. In particular, the kind of investigations that Senator Harkin conducted in the past couple of years, looking into certain sectors of higher education where there have been, clearly are still predatory practices regarding the use of student loans. We have to keep the heat on them.
80% though of the loans are being written and guaranteed in effect by the feds.
That's correct.
Right. So if you take out the shysters out of the equation here, and at least we know who's guaranteeing and issuing it are legit, the numbers just aren't going to add up. Does the federal government have to get involved? I know the president talked about this. It's not popular on the campaign trail right now, but even if it's all done the right way from a sustainability model, there's real problems here. How does it get fixed? What's the long-term answer?
The long-term answer, I believe, is greater regulation and greater transparency. A lot of the loans that I'm referring to in the proprietary sector, the for-profit sector, those are federal loans, and you have unethical financial aid officers who are pitching those loans as a way to gain access to something valuable when the students really will never be able to close the gap.
And we're going to hear more about this because I know we got it on the wrap side. I'll let you have the last word, but really the idea is that the taxpayers may have to start getting into the equation if these...
We are on the hook for that.
I just wanted to ask Tom, you know, all due respect, Sarah Lawrence and other colleges benefit from this reliance on student loans. I mean, it's guaranteed money, making sure that the tuition is going to be met and paid.
This is true. On the other hand, benefit in what way? It allows us to continue providing the social benefit that we provide. I can assure you at Sarah Lawrence, where we have no endowment really to speak of, or small endowment, where faculty are not paid like they are, let's say, in NYU or Stern School of Business, we're providing a real service. And a lot of what has driven this increase in loans, the federal loans, is volume driven. As a country, we should be proud of this. We have increased the number of students enrolled in higher ed, degree-granting institutions, 33% in the last 10 years. If you take it back to 1990, we're talking about 50%. You cannot find a record like that anywhere else in the world, and this is a social good that will benefit all of us.
And to even complicate it, we don't have time for this, but you add on to the higher learning even above that to get graduate degrees, and the demand now for the workplace, you're adding even more, both need and also cost in the equation. Tom, you're going to learn something in TV. You never have enough time, and this is a perfect example here. Great job. And Sarah Lawrence, a fantastic college, if that wasn't made clear in this section.